Education is a civil rights issue. That's a definitive fact. Education is the arena where Jim Crow prominently exists. My name is Albert Sykes. I was 11 when I walked into a classroom in my middle school that changed my life. My son is at that age where something can be introduced to him that'll change his life. This state was the richest state in the Union based on the backs of slave labor. If you look at where the state is now, being last in education, first in poverty, one of the reasons that exists is because the state still hasn't figured out how to stop basing economic strategies on the backs of the most disenfranchised and under-resourced people.
In 1968, we were first in poverty and last in education. And I kind of rechecked the data in 2008, 40 years later, and there we were in the same positions, first and last.
Bill Luckett is the mayor of Clarksdale, Mississippi. He's a former gubernatorial candidate for the state of Mississippi, and he's a businessman who's been community-oriented for a long, long time. How we make headway on poverty in this state?
Education is the only way out of poverty, and we're going to have to hit it not just at the kid age level, but a lot of parents, because we've got to put that value on education. We need to educate a lot of parents as well as the children. That's the only way to break that cycle out there.
But tonight we just really wanted to talk about y'all kids and kind of what they experiencing in the schools that they going to. But then we hosted a dinner with a group of local parents with the intention of having folks share their stories and taking the issues that arise from those stories and coming back with solutions that we can take action on. Like what stuff that we can do to really advocate for y'all's children, my kids, and all the kids in JPS.
They teach them not just what's going on in the present, but how the past, it was just history, but how it affects you now. You know what I'm saying?
They children need more mentors. They used to be like big brother, big sister. I ain't heard about that in so long.
Racism and Mississippi have always been bedfellows. You go to different schools and you can see the difference in the expulsion and suspension rates for black and white kids for the same infractions.
I've read a lot of data. The third grade reading level in Mississippi is an uncannily accurate predictor of how many prison beds we need 10 years out. As William Winter once said, build a school, close a prison.
Raising black boys in Mississippi is a scary thing. Kids born after 2002 got a 1 in 3 chance of going to prison. Well, I was raising 3 boys in the same house, so I'm looking at the reality that I gotta fight. I'm more dedicated to how I show myself in front of my kids because the room for error is low.
You got your seatbelt on?
Instead of going to school today, I brought Aiden along with me. I felt like being with us for a day, he would get a more substantive education. I came into the Algebra Project as an 11-year-old kid. Aiden's at the same age that I was when my eyes began to open. I wanted him to be exposed to the thing that changed my life. When I was your age, when I was exactly 11, I met Bob Moses. And so he is what made the civil rights movement real for me.
What's up, Kiki?
What up, man? Chillin'? Everything
The
good?
Algebra Project is the organization that was founded by Bob Moses for the purposes of spreading mathematics literacy to students who reside in the bottom quartiles of public schools across the country. This is where me and you, two 11-year-old kids, really got to building a lifelong friendship. The Algebra Project is a different type of math. It's a team building math.
He didn't really have nobody to help him with his math and stuff, and one day he just walked out in the hallway and saw his friends playing like a little game, and his friend was like, come on Kiki, come on Kiki.
That was so much different from what I was doing in my classroom, so I just had to watch and say, yeah, what are you doing? And so you were the only one to say, man, you want to play, man? We're playing a math game. And so that's kind of how it all started.
I work with a lot of young people who are in and out of the criminal justice system, who are in and out of our schools for whatever reason.
Jed Oppenheim, he's one of the hardest working community advocates in the city.
And it's not because any of them have been like bad kids, right? It's because we've created systems that have failed them, right? Especially black young men like yourself, like your peers. And we continue to do that, right? Without realizing, oh, why don't we talk to Aiden? Let's see what Aiden wants. Let's see what Aiden needs and work with him from there and build some relationships with him so that he could succeed in what he wants.
That was the first time Aiden had a one-on-one venue with somebody in a position to do something about the things he's concerned about.
For me and students like me.
Having Aiden articulate from his 11-year-old eyes what he sees and experiences every day in his school, it was important for that exchange to happen between the student and the person who could do something about it.
There would not be a civil rights movement if people were not being exploited for labor. And the way they exploited people from labor was not only cheating them on their wages, but controlling the policy. And how you control the policy is through the vote. And they also did it by weakening education. So it's all tied in.
We were joined by Derrick Johnson, who is the state president of the Mississippi NAACP. Derrick holds a lot of knowledge about the history of this state, the current position of this state, and he holds a lot of knowledge about the potential future of this state.
A new system came up called segregation, where they still wanted to exploit us for cheap labor. And so the state policy has been for many, many years, keep the costs of how much you're gonna pay people down in hopes that a small segment of society get more profit. But the only way you can do that is have a weak education system. And so where you find workers make a lot more money, in many cases the education system is much better, like a Connecticut. Our teachers are paid less than any other teacher in the country. We create these stigmas around certain schools, given this illusion that they're bad schools and good schools, when in fact schools are not good or bad. You may have a state who don't care about children.
People say that, our schools are all failing, they're all bad, and we need to change something. We need to shake it up, we need to bring in new schools, we need to create more charters, we need to do this and do that. Honestly, the answer is often that the schools are already doing great things, but they don't have a lot of support for it. They don't have the funds or the kind of the political support in their community to kind of do what they want to do and do it better.
We're all about building leadership here in Jackson and in the state of Mississippi. And so we know that education is the pathway to building that leadership. So we're looking forward to you being president of NAACP one day, or whatever you want to be. But we're looking
Probably could even be the next generation of helping young kids with their homework tutoring and coming up with ideas to help kids in their education. I guess we could be the next generation.
Education is definitely a civil rights issue, and it's the most prominent civil rights issue of our time. It's the one thing that if I had to lay my hat on an issue and say this is where I'm going to spend the rest of my life and the rest of my fight, it'd be education.